My wife said she'd never have kids, so I ended the marriage, and her best friend became my wife. My wife Miranda and I were at a fancy steakhouse for our 3rd anniversary when she said, "I've scheduled a consultation for a hysterectomy. I want to make sure I never have children, ever." I honestly thought she was messing with me, but she didn't smile. We'd been together 5 years and talked about kids a lot. I asked, "When did you decide this?" She said therapy made her realize she only said yes because it was what I wanted, and she was done worrying about birth control. I took a breath and said, "It's your body, your decision." She stared like she expected me to beg. Then I said, "But building a family was the plan we agreed on. If you're changing that, we need to be real about what it means for us." Miranda's eyes narrowed. "So you're leaving if I don't give you a baby?" I said, "I'm leaving if we want different lives and you drop it on me like a test." She snapped that I was being selfish, paid the check, and drove home in silence the whole way. The next morning I called my brother Dave, a divorce attorney, and told him everything. He said, "If you're done, do it clean." By lunch I'd moved only my half of the money, packed my things, and left divorce papers on the kitchen island with a short note. "Your choice was yours, and my choice was to end the marriage." Miranda called non-stop. First she cried, then she screamed, then she said I was proving I never loved her. I didn't answer. When the lawyers got involved, it got nastier. Miranda told people I ditched her because she wanted control of her own body, and suddenly I was the bad guy. Then Harper, Miranda's best friend, texted me and asked to talk. I almost ignored it, but we met for coffee. Harper looked tense and tired, and she got straight to it. She said Miranda had been planning that dinner for months. Harper said Miranda called it a loyalty test. If I stayed, I proved I loved her. If I left, she could paint me as the villain. Harper said she begged Miranda to talk to me like a partner, not set a trap, but Miranda refused. I sat there with my hands wrapped around a paper cup, feeling sick. Harper said, "I'm telling you because she's lying about you and I can't watch it." After that, Harper and I kept crossing paths during paperwork and court stuff. At first it was just quick hellos, but we started talking more. Harper didn't defend what Miranda did, and she didn't treat me like some monster either. One day Harper admitted, "I always wanted a family." Miranda used to mock me for it, like it was embarrassing. I told Harper I still wanted kids, but I also wanted honesty more than anything. Harper looked down and said she thought she was falling for me. My chest went tight because I felt the same. We promised we wouldn't date until the divorce was final, because we didn't want any doubts about when it started. When the papers were signed, it felt like I could finally breathe. Harper and I went on a hike a week later, and I asked her to marry me. She said yes before I even finished. We eloped quietly. 2 months after that, Harper told me she was pregnant, and the doctor confirmed it was twins. We were happy, terrified, and walking on air. Then Easter came. Harper's grandmother hosted brunch, and Harper brought a photo album to share the news with her family. Wedding photos, our little home, and the ultrasound pictures. I walked in and froze when I saw Miranda there. Someone had invited her without knowing. Miranda looked thinner and worn out, hair messy, eyes flicking around the room. For 1 second I felt bad. Her hands shook on her glass. Then she saw the ring on my hand, and her face hardened. At the table, Harper's grandmother stood up and said Harper had something to share. Harper opened the album and said, "Oscar and I got married 3 months ago, and we're expecting twins this fall." The room erupted with gasps and questions. Miranda sat perfectly still, then whispered, "You planned this. You planned all of it." Harper said, "We didn't even date until after the divorce." Miranda's chair screeched back. She pointed at Harper and shouted that Harper fed me information and stole her husband. Harper's grandmother told her to calm down. Miranda yelled that Harper destroyed her life, and that I left the second she made one decision. Harper kept her voice low and said, "You told him you were getting a hysterectomy so you'd never have children. You did it to hurt him and to trap him." Miranda's eyes went wild. She lunged for the album, and Harper yanked it away. Miranda screamed, "Those should be my babies! That should be my life!" People grabbed Miranda's arms to stop her from climbing over the table. Harper's grandmother pulled out her phone and called the police. Miranda thrashed and cried, then screamed the part that made everything click. "I never even wanted that hysterectomy. It was all a test. You were supposed to fight for me." The whole room went dead silent. Now everyone's saying I abandoned her over a test. Was I wrong?